Hello, this is my book review, Rosie Revere Engineer. Um, this is the book I chose to do my project on. Um, it's a very cute children's book. I would say ages K through 5 at the very most. Um, so let's get into it. Uh, Andrea Beatty was born and raised in a small town in Illinois. She is the author of this book. She was one of 6 children. She often spent her summers with her siblings running through fields and forests looking for adventure. She was a big reader who loved Nancy Drew and Trixie Belden, mystery books. Her secret ambition when she was younger was to be a star in a Broadway musical. She attended Southern Illinois University, where she studied biology and computer science. She briefly worked at a software company before she began to write children's books. She now spends her time visiting schools and educating kids and teachers about the importance of reading and writing. Although I've read this book to my children in the past, also my nieces and nephews, I never really put into perspective what type of technological and teachings it really had for children. I love that this book's message to children is to never give up and that failure is part of the process. I think too often now in our society, kids are meant, they just feel too much like a failure and they give up. And I think this is an important message in this book that failure is part of the process. Nobody's perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but the part of it is learning from your mistakes and still moving on and trying again to succeed. I think the important message in this book is that only true failure can come if you quit. This is a wonderful inspirational book for young children who love to create and explore. Rosie spends her time in her basement with treasures and things she collects from the trash and scraps, trying to create inventions like the Cheezocopter and hot dog pants. So I think it's a fun way for kids to read through it and see that exploring their creative side can be fun and you can learn from it. I also feel this book does a great job at showing young children that you can be anything you set your mind to. It shows children that gender doesn't really matter because, typically in our society, most people would feel an engineer would have to be or should be, a boy or a man. And this book does a great job of showing that there's no reason a girl can't be an engineer and be just as good at it as a boy. I feel it's important to teach young children these days that gender doesn't matter and you can be anything you set your mind to. If it's in your heart that you really want to do it, you should strive to want to do it. I love that throughout the book everything rhymes. I think rhyming, especially for the age group the book is targeted at, kind of helps them take the message away and have fun with it. I love that this book shows that how we as adults react to children and their creativity and things has a huge impact on them. At one point in the book, Rosie's uncle laughs at her invention. She tried to make a hat to keep the snakes away, and he laughed at her and it crushed her. She felt like she was a failure and wanted to give up and not invent anymore. And I feel like that's an important message to us as parents that we should take away when we read this book to our children, is because what we say we don't think can have that much of an impact, can really truly crush a child and make them so that they feel like they don't ever want to do what their passion is again. Luckily, Rosie's aunt does come and stay with her, and teaches her the lesson that the only failure is quitting. So I really like that part of the book where they turned it around and actually she gets back into inventing because of a positive influence, whereas her uncle's negativity made her want to quit. In conclusion, I feel I would highly recommend this book to young children and their parents to read together. It shows some great lessons for children and their parents. This book also shows how children benefit from hands-on learning, and I feel that it shows how having a makerspace in your classroom or in their classroom can be extremely useful to their creativity. I think this book shows that just how having a makerspace can encourage a child greatly to follow their dreams. I think a lot of kids learn hands-on, and having that type of space in a classroom can greatly benefit those children. And that is my book review.